So I've put on my glove because when you are riding in the Malaysia road, it's slightly different from Singapore. It's not as poor. So what happened is there's a lot of gravel or little stone that the car will pick up and then it will fire to your direction. So it will hit your finger. I ever once have one experience. It was hot, so I was lazy. I didn't put on my glove, and then I got a cut from the gravel that was passed up by the car above. Okay, as a result, I bled. The cut was quite deep. So thereafter, I have learned that I need to wear a glove and also the proper protection. If you are not riding on the Malaysia highway, then I would say that's not necessary. If you are here just for a petrol run or supper, quick trip, then you don't need only when you are doing long distance, higher speed run. The other thing is when you are in Malaysia, when you are reading the road sign, take it as a advice rather than a instruction. The reason being is most of the vehicle here doesn't follow strictly on the recommended or the recommendations being present on the road sign. As a rider, you need to exercise your self-assessment to understand, okay, these are the things that I need to follow, these are the things that I don't need to follow. I would say that the best way is to observe what the local does. If most of them are doing that, then probably you can also do that. If they are not doing it, then you probably don't do it. Okay, that's where I say that you take the road sign as a advice but not an instruction. So as long as there's no vehicle moving, the bike just went through the light, although it's red. One thing I noticed is the Malaysian drivers are more understanding as compared to the Singaporean driver. The reason being is I realize that whenever the Malaysian driver they changes lane, they try to switch from left to right or whichever direction, they will tend to display signal light. Okay, and even if you are changing lane, once you display signal light, they have the tendency to give way. However, in Singapore, I would say that I don't know what happened to our import cars. I think all the signal light might be faulty and needs to be checked. We tend not to use signal light a lot, and when we see someone doing a signaling, we actually try to speed up instead of giving way. One of the confusing things that I first find in Malaysia when I was riding in was the road name. So most of the road name are in Malay, and it's pretty long. So whenever you are checking through your GPS and then you try to refer to the road sign, usually you don't have time for that. So my trick is actually just look at the map, okay, in terms of direction in advance, okay, and also look for numbers if there is displayed on the GPS, because most of the highways in Malaysia are pretty much like Singapore. They have like a exit number. So you see the yellow sign is the number. So just use that number as reference. It will be fast as compared to using the alphabetical reading. I never have a chance to fully match the road name with my GPS. So most of the time I just follow road number or just look at a general direction on the GPS. So I went to the wrong road. Okay, but once you do your signal, the vehicle usually will try to give way to you most of the time. Whenever we ask our friends to go into Malaysia, especially those who have never been in Malaysia via cars or motorcycles, the common reply I get is a very dangerous day, the one I scared. I always ask them, what are you afraid of and why do you find it dangerous? Most of them they just give me a very brief answer, it's just dangerous. So I think it's a very old impression during the, I think, 70s, 80s or the early 90s, where Malaysia is not very well organized, and a lot of cases, I think there's a lot of bad rap about cases where people get robbed or people get, so I would say that all those things are avoidable as long as you know what you're doing. I would say that the driver here are more, okay, probably they drive every day. It's not like in Singapore you get your BMW, your bus, MRT and walk that easily, so they have to drive. So they are more skillful and more understanding road users. So we are here at the toll. So once you reach the toll, the bike is always on the extreme left side or right side. So you see that sign there. I'll just follow the bike to the motorcycle lane, or most of the time it's the shoulder lane, okay? And the motorcycle is free of charge in Malaysia toll. So unlike the car, you have to pay. So motorbike, you just have to zip through. So I think that's why a lot of bikers like to keep to Malaysia, because first thing, you don't need to pay that much as compared to a car. Second is you have that wide vast of road that you can actually unleash your true potential in your motorcycle. So if you are riding a small motorcycle that cannot reach the speed, you can actually use the road shoulder, and then if you can speed up, then it's good. So if you are using the right lane in the highway, the north-south highway, the recommended speed is, I would say, at least 140, 150. So that's the general speed that they are going. If you are cruising anywhere lower than that, I would recommend you to stick to the left lane, only when you're overtaking. One of the safety precautions is you will see a lot of trucks in the Malaysian highway, so try not to get too close to them when you are traveling in high speed, because when they are also traveling in high speed, there's a strong gust of resistant wind that they rush out from the side of their vehicle. It actually pushes you to the side of the road if you are too close to them. It's quite dangerous because it's also very hard for you to control your motorcycle, because they are very lightweight as compared to the heavy vehicle out there.